a good week, I will say. Happy as shit it's Friday. Like I know I say that every week, but like it feels like this week especially, I am very happy that it's Friday. You know what I'm gonna do?
It needed to be Friday. Yeah.
Oh my god. I am going to be building a new like parking garage thing tomorrow. And then I am sitting down and I am just playing Call of Duty. Like Saturday night, I'm just gonna be a total Chad bro and just play Call of Duty. Like my phone's getting turned off. Like I'm gonna preset my lineups for Sunday, and I'm just playing. Like I need. There's got to be something.
Play multiplayer then?
Oh yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah! I've already uninstalled Modern Warfare 2019. It is uninstalled. I uninstalled it immediately. You know?
Fair enough.
Done with that man. Slide canceling stuff. No, man. Just kind of one of those weeks. Obviously, Jacob and I did the Tuesday show, right? We had when all the stuff, the thread went out. Shout out to all the new followers and what like that was just absolutely wild. I don't know how some of you big accounts keep up with your notifications. I felt like a god just seeing 120 new followers. I was like, oh my god, how do these guys keep up with it? Yeah, it's what I felt. It was injected straight in my veins. So shout out to Fantasy Points, but and then like just some conversations, right? So we talked Greg Dulcich, Jacob and I being the tight end 8 on KTC. Oh my god, KTC on Tuesday, and like how he views him as like a top 6 dynasty tight end already because tight end sucks. And then with one of our Discord followers, Chris, shout out, or Doombot if you play in leagues with him, he's trying to trade me Waller, and I was like, nah, like you're not getting Dulcich from me for Waller. Like I wouldn't trade him straight up for him. And we had a conversation about that, and then there was somebody else who made a comment about Goddard, and I offered him Dulcich in 2 seconds for Goddard. And he had mentioned that it was just an absolutely horrendous offer. And I was like, I don't think it is. So I went to the trade calc on KTC just to check. And I know that I like talk shit a lot about that website and like values and how to do that. But sometimes if you want to just make sure you're not crazy and you just want to check something, I went and checked. And I understand that Goddard had a big game. He's already a top 5 dynasty today. I'm right there with you. I feel you. I got you. Then I looked and it was like that trade showed it overwhelmingly in my favor. And I was like, I think to say that it was like outrageously bad is a stretch. You know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of that. Like in that situation, and we'll talk a little strategy before we get going with this one here, guys. I think if more people weren't just like I won't even say stuck up because I really like the person that I was talking to. But as a whole, and I'm not even going to this isn't about you're listening, that's cool. This isn't like a dig. I'm just saying in general in fantasy to get more trades done. If you just counter instead of attacking, you get deals done. Right? Like it just you can counter, or if you want to instant decline, that's fine. But like chances are I'm not going to have it out with you in what like I hate
right? Like,
I hate
you're high on that guy.
Yeah, like, not even that, but how you do it. Like you'd be way better if you would have just been like, "That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this."
Yep.
I think you would get the deal done a lot easier than just verbally fighting with another person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just something that drives me nuts. It's a couple of times this week I was just like, well, I just don't reply, and they just scream into the ether, and I'm just like.
You make an interesting point though with trade calcs, because like I've been anti-trade calc for a long time, but if you find a website that has rankings that represent what your opinions are of players, it's actually not a bad thing to use, right? Like,
or just close.
That's the thing. The key for me is I hate using other people's rankings to determine what the value of a trade is. That's why I don't like them. But if those values are the same as your values, then by all means use them. But just know that it won't be a negotiation with me if that's not the same.
But just remember, though, when you're doing a trade to begin with, you are, in a way, using another person's values to get a deal done. Yeah. It's just directly. It's not coming from crowdsourced things. So
I think that's so
you can tell me that Russell Wilson is the number 1 quarterback in fantasy, and that's how you view him. And I will tell you, sir, to get fucked, because that evaluation is actually crazy. But when they just say that trade value is, perception, all right, there you go. Justification. It's justified. So that's why I say, like, I get if you're saying that it's an absolute dog shit offer. I get that, but like, you know, like let's plug in a little bit here to what's going on the outside. Like, I get it. Rigged, what up? Thomas, Tom, Lucas. It isn't it early in Australia, Tom Lee? It's pretty early.
It's like 10:30 a.m. It's pretty good.
Yeah. This is a lot. This is a lot later than what I used to put Tom Lee through on Saturdays.
I'm very excited for Sunday because daylight savings ends for you guys or starts.
Again, extra hour of sleep.
So do I. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is good.
So
I mean,
4 a.m. wake ups for games.
Yeah. Oh my God. Every time there's a game in London, I'm like, I feel like Tom Lee right now.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Well, you just got to set it. It's just like you're risking. It's just like the Kamara thing. Like for us, like, because I know I let you sub them out. And I know people on Twitter were like, if you fucking let people sub out a player, they're blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, well, our homeboy's in Australia.
Say, like, if he is out, here is the person that's going
and like he's not telling you when the game's half over.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you don't have to be a dick just because your league is cooler than everyone else's. Happy Friday to all three. Oh, shout out. Hey, yo. I'm having Bud Light Apple, not a sponsor, because, you know, we want to punish a Tolly, and I'm going to actually do it this time.
There you go.
So shout out. All right, fellas, I say we kick this thing off and get this episode 177 banging. Shout out to everyone that came in for the bonus. Shout out to you. Let's ride. Yeah, I said let's ride. I probably jinxed this show. Everything's going to go wrong. Tom Lee's internet's going to break down. Lucas's mic is going to stop working. I'm going to keep saying the wrong things, and then I don't know. But that's how it goes. I've cursed this, but that's fine. Yeah, exactly. It's 100% what it is. Look, this is the Full Tilt Podcast Network. We are powered by Fantasy Points Media Group. Shout out to Fantasy Points. We are also aligned with the best ball app, complete with multiple games like Pick'em, so much more. That is Underdog Fantasy. Happy to be here. This is I cannot believe this is episode 177 already. Okay, and wherever you're listening to this, you missed out on the bonus 5+ minutes or so over there on YouTube. You're going to want to go to the Full Tilt Podcast Network on YouTube and subscribe. You get an extra little bit of 5 minutes. Sometimes it's strategy. I think Jigman and I went for 10 minutes last week. It just sometimes that's how the conversations roll. You cannot get that in pod form, so it's a little bonus for our YouTube subscribers. So shout out to that. Of course, I'm your host with the most time with hands. I am Thomas Tipple FF. With me, as always, from around the world is at Tom_Lee92. I screwed that up last week, not this week. And also joining us is one of the smartest human beings on the planet. It is at the Cute Hurts. That is Lucas Gilbert. Guys, we're ready to go. We got a lot of stuff to do. Last week was dreary. It was a very Halloween-y, very dreary, sad, depressing episode with players who suck this year. We're not doing that. Positivity is key this week, and we're going to talk about players that have surprising glow-ups. We're going to have some, some keep, some hold, some trade. Lots of stuff. Everyone's favorite. We got Budgy Smugglers. We have a new bit. It's just, oh my God, I can't wait. This is going to be great. Absolutely phenomenal. But of course, I'm going to do some ad stuff first. That way I can get it out of the way now because I have it written in here that I'm going to forget. So like I said, if you have not played Underdog Fantasy before, if you go to underdogfantasy.com, use promo code FULLTILT. That is FULLTILT. They will match your first deposit up to $100. That is multiple free entries in best ball, pick'ems, as much as you can play. You can do it right there. And you can play along with us weekly on the Tuesday show as we give you our 3 favorite pick'em plays of the week. and we ride with it. It's a great time. You can win with us. You can lose with us. We can all tilt together. It's absolutely phenomenal. And then, of course, you're going to want to go to fantasypoints.com. Look, fantasypoints.com released their week 9 chart porn article. It is absolutely fantastic. We're going to drop some information from that here on the pod. It top tier, and now that Fantasy Points data branch is growing and expanding and ready for full launch, they're going to blow your socks off. So head over to fantasypoints.com and get absolutely plugged in. I think that's all of them. I think that's it. I think that's it. I remembered this time. Look at that. See, I didn't jinx us. Didn't jinx this completely. What's your guys' take on Moss usage in Indy?
You think he's going to be used?
Unlocked, or his skill set going to take him to the abyss? I bet you this week he'll be active, but I don't care. That's my That's my hot take on Zach Moss. He sucks. He always has sucked. He will continue to suck. Yeet. All right, let's go. Look, new segment. Okay, I'm going to do this every week because I just think it'll be funny to be completely wrong about things. We are going to now do Tom's almost hot take of the week. I'm going to every week give you a take that I think is locked in, but probably not actually locked in, but it's going to be close. Mark Andrews is not going to play Monday night. He has not practiced all week, and the Ravens apparently are the worst medical staff in football. They can't tell if a player needs surgery on his foot or not. So he hasn't practiced all week. That means Isaiah Likely, who was the tight end 2 last week, Isaiah Likely will be a locked-in top 5 tight end this week. Zero doubt in my mind. It is my almost hot take of the week. I think it's a good one. I think it's bang on. There's a reason I picked Isaiah Likely as my tight end play of the week on the Tuesday show. All right, tight ends outside of the top 10. I went deep for that one. I had a feeling that's how we're gonna go.
My people are here in the comments.
Hollywood,
Absolutely love it.
What up, Hollywood? Hope you're having a banging night, man. I know you are. It's Friday. Hey, that's what's
Vols,
up,
man. Go
Look,
Vols.
We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we are gonna get into some of the meat of this here episode. Can't wait. Sit tight and enjoy this clip from Tuesday's show with Jacob and I.
I think Greg Dulcich is like a top 6 dynasty tight end because tight end sucks. We know that tight end sucks. So to me, it's like who is the better bet to become that elite guy? Who's the best bet to hold all that value? And I think you can make an argument a number of different ways, but like, similar to a guy like Mark Andrews, but really similar to a guy like Mark Andrews, Dulcich was a guy who had sufficient but not elite athleticism, but yet he was able to win in a downfield role playing off the line of scrimmage in college. He comes in as a 3rd-round pick. He comes in as a rookie. He's immediately efficient. He's immediately earning volume. Like, I don't know. I'd rather just take a shot on that than go for these like mid options that I can get the same production out of Tyler Higbee. So,
and I know that you don't have to do that. You can always get the plus on top. So I think that's you're gonna for sure be able to get a plus on top on name value for Dulcich. I really believe in most leagues. You know what's funny about that clip is it turns out I was so very wrong about being able to get that plus on top of Dulcich. I was incredibly mistaken. How bad is Gus Edwards' injury? He only played 1 game and is down already. It was a different injury. He stumbled, right? Extended his knee. I don't know, but I don't trust the Ravens, so I'm not playing them this week. That's just how it has to be. I don't trust them. They're 1 week before their bye week. They have a 2-game lead in the division. I think that they'll rest their injured guys and go against the Saints. I really do. I think that's how it's going to go. Look, what do we got? All right, look, we're going to do our Budgy Smugglers of the week. I know I have some making up to do for last week's issues. I'm going to let the other guys go first because I'm going to beat my Budgy Smuggler over the head with a hammer. So, Tom Lee, who do you got?
Right. So last week we said, do you start Andy Dalton or do you start Aaron Rodgers? We were right. You do start Andy Dalton, but none of it was fun. The rifle was stifled. Was not a good week for the Budgy Smuggler. Don't know what the line is. I think we're hoping for sort of 6 positions higher than what the expectation is, I guess, with the Budgy Smuggler. So for him to finish QB 18 on the week was a bit disappointing. speaking of QB teams on the year, Aaron Rodgers is this week. So, again, it's a pretty easy fodder. We're going for the guy who plays Detroit. It's in Detroit, under the roof. They're still giving up the most points to opposing QBs. My one concern, I guess, for Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers in this is that their wide receivers aren't healthy. And Detroit gives up the 7th most points to running backs, so you could see some of that production come on the ground and not through the air. But they also give up the 6th most points to tight ends and the 5th most to wide receivers. So it's just a point fest all around. And I like what they're doing in Detroit. They're throwing the ball. They're keeping in games. I'm hoping for a shootout here. QB 12 on expert consensus rankings on Fantasy Pros. So by the new Budgy Smuggler rule, he has to be a 6 or higher on the week. And I'm slightly confident that A-Rod actually fires this week, because if he doesn't, he's pretty much dead to me in Dynasty.
I love how you've made this pick just based on how badly you need him to be successful. Probably so you can trade him if I know you well enough. And they they are tied for the highest point total on the week at 49.5. Yeah. So I find that to be interesting, but I am concerned that Swift may not be playing. They did yeet Hawkinson, thank God. So we'll see.
A lot of Khalil Raymond,
Reynolds. Damn, Tom looking like a snack. I do it for you, BB. That's Bryce coming over from us at Twitch. Budgy Smuggler. Oh, yeah, best slogan of this. Hey, that's what we do. Budgy Smuggler, you heard him. You heard rigged. All right. Oh, yeah, best slogan of segments for the show. That's right. Sponsor the program. All right. The world needs to see Tom Lee and a Budgy Smuggler. Get it done. Done. Lucas, your Budgy Smuggler of the week.
Oh, dang. So last week, I finally actually got a Budgy Smuggler right. It wasn't too hard with
a lot of
Henry, though. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did. Oh, my goodness. Whew, that was good. He would have been the RB1 on the week if it weren't for 5 RBs scoring over 30 points. Like, oh my gosh, wasn't expecting that one, but I was very happy with Derrick Henry. Absolutely, just monstrous game. But that was last week. And Thomas made a comment about needing to smash his Budgy Smuggler with a hammer after last week.
It's got to be done.
This guy's going to be using his Budgy Smuggler like a hammer and dropping the hammer on the Minnesota Vikings, and that is Terry F1 McLaurin. Oh my goodness, I am so excited about this matchup. We finally have Heineke back at the quarterback position, just chucking up balls for nobody else to get them except for McLaurin, and the Vikings are 26th against wide receivers so far on the season in terms of points allowed. They're also the 5th worst coverage unit according to PFF. They kind of know what they're talking about there. But this is the guy you want in your lineups to potentially be the wide receiver 1 on the week. But last week said Derrick Henry could be. Terry McLaurin realistically could be the wide receiver 1 on the week. All you need is touchdowns. The baseline is definitely there. He's going to take you over the top, going to help you win your week. Terry McLaurin, Budgy Smuggler.
Seem pretty confident in that against the 6-1 Vikings. It's going to be tough. A 43.5 implied total. It's going to be tough to score the points, but maybe we'll get lucky. We'll have one of those weird Commanders football games. Look, last week I let the people down. I claimed that Raheem Mostert was meant to be an elite starter. Well, I fucking lied to you, and for that, I apologize. However, my track record in this segment, pretty good on the year. And this week, look, there's fewer receivers that need a big week like Christian Kirk does. Christian Kirk needs a big week. He's been not so great as of late. Wide receiver 57, 15, 35, 93, and 46 in his last 5. However, let's talk some numbers, fellas. Christian Kirk against Vegas, who is allowing +7 points per game over their opponent's expected points per game allowed to slot wide receivers. Guess what? Christian Kirk runs 75% of his routes from the slot. Vegas, who ranks worst in schedule-adjusted fantasy points per game allowed to opposing wide receivers. They are, however, the 8th best against outside wide receivers at -4.2. What does that mean? What's the translation? They funnel targets to the slot. This could be a big 12 target slot game for Christian Kirk. This game has an implied point total of 47.5. Should be more than enough for Christian Kirk to do his damage. The Raiders are also the third most efficient matchup for slot wide receivers with plus 132% fantasy points over expected to the position. That's very, very bad. That's absolutely horrific. Okay, there is only one concern I have with this, is that Travis Etienne has a phenomenal matchup. The Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line has been remarkably efficient this season, leading the NFL in yards before contact per attempt at 2.53. That should help continue Travis Etienne's insane efficiency. However, the Raiders are so bad guarding the slot, I don't think it will matter. Some play action passing and a high target volume, which should come his way, should lead Christian Kirk to absolutely finishing inside the top 20 on the week, making him my super sexy Budgy Smuggler of the week. It's just how it is. Christian Kirk.
Can't argue with that.
No, you can, but the numbers are right there. You can get those numbers and a lot more from the Fantasy Points Chart Porn article up on their site right now. Or you can go read some more of it in my thread over there at Thomas Hipple FF on the Bird app. Information you need, you love, and you want. Trevor Lawrence or Aaron Rodgers, both underperforming this year. Trevor Lawrence is the QB 11 on the year. I wouldn't call that underperforming, really. But I will go Trevor Lawrence. If you're asked this question in the Twitter thread that I posted, would you do Lawrence, Cousins, and Rodgers for Superflex? And I went Cousins and Lawrence. So my answer stays the same. It is Lawrence. We love it. Look, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to punish a Tolly together. We're going to have a nice little casual discussion about some footy, if you would. Sit tight.
I mean, that's what I think about Algier. Honestly, I think that realistically, he had a month-long opportunity to pull away from Caleb Huntley, and he didn't really. He didn't in terms of volume. He didn't really in terms of efficiency. He ultimately was not providing so much value that they were like, oh, we need to make this guy the workhorse, right? They used him as the plurality back of a 3-person committee. I'm sure he's still going to be involved when Cordero Patterson comes back, but it's going to be Patterson's show there, getting the high value touches. And then, we'll see. Algier and Caleb Huntley might mix in. I think that when you're looking at Algier, right, we're talking about a day 3 running back. Like, there's really 2 paths to paying off for day 3 running back. He kind of did it already, right? You get a month where he gets to be the lead back. That's awesome. That's honestly, quite frankly, like probably worth a round 3 rookie pick, like the 4 weeks that you already got. So that's good enough.
Yeah, hopefully you were able to trade away Algier after last week's performance. 2 decent performances in a row for him. So I'm really hoping. All right, Tom Lee, we're punishing a Tolly, having a nice casual conversation with your mates, like I am right now with you guys. We are going to do some buy, hold, and sell of some of these players that have kind of upticked a little bit. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. Kick us off.
Yes, I mean, the guys have pulled these stats on. The idea of the Tolly, pull some stats and just have a lighthearted conversation. So the guys I've pulled are people who I've heard chat about in leagues. I know a lot of likes and a lot of those little interested heart buttons on Sleeper have been pressed on. 3 QBs, 3 running backs, and 3 wide receivers.
I fucking hate that feature. It sucks.
It means absolutely nothing.
I am never going to approach and be like, oh my God.
Someone's interested.
Somebody press the heart button on my 3rd round pick. I'm not running to the DM after that. Just fucking send. I would be more interested if you sent me 3 fab for Lamar Jackson to tell me that you were interested. Like, it's like hitting that I'm interested button is fucking dumb. I don't care. Don't care.
Gosh.
Carry on.
I love it. 3 QBs, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers. So we kick it off with Justin Fields, right? So the way that these stats are going to work, overall rankings first, points per game ranking for PPR is also up next, as well as the current Dynasty expert consensus rank, all according to Fantasy Pros. So Justin Fields, QB 11 on the year, QB 19 points per game, and QB12 currently for Dynasty. Are we buying, holding, or selling on Justin Fields?
Look, was already buying going into the season because his price was cheap. Unfortunately, your time to buy is probably past at this point. I mean, if you look at his last couple of games, he's been absolutely locked in. He's had the Lamar Jackson upside that Scott Barrett talked about on our show. Scott Barrett of Fantasy Points talked about on our show when he joined us the second time on the Tuesday Full Tilt Dynasty podcast. He joined us and talked about it. And even the peripherals for Justin Fields before this stretch wasn't too terrible. I mean, QB 23 in week 1. He was QB 27 in week 2, which was disappointing. Then his worst week against Houston of all teams at 31. Then we started to see some positives, and it all came with his rushing. When he started 52 rushing yards, he was a QB 26. And then things started to go his way finally, and his yards per attempt is really good. They just got Chase Claypool. I don't think his uptick is going to go up, but his efficiency might. So we'll see. But look, 17 points, 19 points, 25, 24 points, 26 points. It's going up for him. His rushing is going up, and he just looks like an absolute game breaker when he's on the field.
He does.
I want to buy, but
it's got a very
it's
Jalen
hard
Hurts
to buy.
vibe to it, doesn't it? So, like,
Right.
it's the same sort of idea as people are holding back on generally buying because he has that, well, this staff didn't draft him. What if they get rid of him? You know, new staff came in, backed in Hurts. All of a sudden, he's now sort of QB 3 to 5 for a lot of people because the rushing floor breaks the game. You know, if they're allowed to chuck it, and that's really been the only drawback this year with Chicago has been they've had no one to throw it to, and they haven't been throwing during the game. Whereas Hurts has.
They're running
If they
less
start
than
airing it
Atlanta.
out more and he starts hitting because he can on these guys, it doesn't matter if he throws picks. It doesn't matter if he turns it over with fumbles every now and then because he is an elite runner. So the talent's still there. It's just a case of, you know, there might be a buy opportunity because people aren't sure about his future. But like you said, the price is a lot more risky now than it was 6 months ago. So he's a hold for me. A buy if you can get him cheap, but hold for nothing else.
Same. He is a player that on this very show, I said that I would have Mac Jones over him. So I need to eat crow. Since week 4, he has been the quarterback 2 in fantasy football.
That's all he needed.
He
just needed you to tell he needed you to say into a microphone and into the world that you would take a man whose name is McCorkle over him, and it affected Justin Fields' swag, and it just injected him with some drive.
I'm still buying him though. At this point, he's somebody that I would consider trading Trevor Lawrence for. Okay, if I can do that. If some people still don't buy into the Bears because it's the Bears, they run more than Atlanta does, and we all have seen how someone like Jacob talks vigorously about Atlanta and Arthur Smith and that whole rhetoric. It's worse in Chicago. But I'd still rather have an upside type play like Justin Fields over someone like Lawrence who hasn't shown that rushing upside, even though I still think it's there. They're both sporadic. They're both learning, and both the situations could be better. So I think that there is an opportunity to buy. And I think that if you can look, I ate shit on the Full Tilt Dynasty podcast 2 weeks ago for saying that you can move off of Lamar Jackson for similar upside plus a couple of first-round picks. And I got shit on. Well, guess what? You could likely, in all likelihood, go and trade Lamar Jackson for Justin Fields and at least another first-round pick. You should be able to get multiple picks on top of Justin Fields for Lamar Jackson. And I'm telling you, please start exploring that option because, again, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. But until something changes in Baltimore, Lamar Jackson has to be viewed as a low-end QB1 week to week with potential week-winning upside every week. Not saying he's bad, but something's got to change. And if you don't have that kind of risk tolerance, you can go and get similar upside with multiple first-round picks for a guy like Justin Fields right now. And I'm telling you, I think that it's not a terrible idea. And it's something to look into. I'm just saying it. I'm going to say it right now.
I like it.
Fair enough.
Tom, I'm also with you. Justin Fields' stock is going way up, especially in Dynasty. His read on the field is improving with his accuracy. Look, he's still a one read and go kind of guy, but it's hard not to be a one read and go kind of guy when you've got
when you've got that go.
the wrong St. Brown on your team and Velas Jones and N'Keal Harry, I'd be scared to have more than one read myself. So we'll see.
I think that the Claypool,
Trevor Mack. I agree with you. I'm just saying there are people out there that don't feel that way. I mean,
I think the Claypool trade is a bigger deal for Dynasty than it is for redraft, because I feel like this is the Bears organization kind of saying, yes, we believe in Justin Fields. This isn't just ending after this season.
Not even that they believe, but they're willing to see it through.
Exactly.
I think that even if they still doubt, I think that shows a commitment to really figuring it out for the rest of the year. And I get it. Fantasy is not real football, and they're looking for something completely different. But if he keeps putting weeks together with flashes of that talent, you're right. It is kind of Jalen Hurtsy. And we're not saying that he's going to become Jalen Hurts and that the Bears are going to go undefeated. Look, Philadelphia already had a good team attached to that. And Justin Fields does not have A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Dallas Goedert, and all blah, 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 blah. All right? We're not making a direct comparison, but the addition of a wide receiver makes it a little similar in comparison. What's next, Tom Lee?
So we've flown to Justin Herbert so far, QB 13 on the year. Of course, they had their bye week, QB 11 as far as points per game goes, and QB 3 as far as dynasty ranks. This one should be pretty straightforward. I mean, if there's an opportunity to buy Herbert, you buy. Yep. But no one's panicking right now, right? Like, they've had injured wide receivers. I don't think the offense has changed that much.
They shouldn't be, but somebody is
still there. So, I mean, if there's an opportunity, there's a bit of panic. Sure, buy. But as far as I know, he's a hold for us.
Look, I'm always willing to. I'll sell anyone. Like I'll move Justin Herbert for Jalen Hurts if I can get a first on top. You know, like I always want to do that with especially predominantly rushing quarterbacks. I think I've talked about that at great length, but probably not getting that. So no need to drive in that too hard.
What do you have to add on to Trevor Lawrence to get Justin Herbert right now?
The right to name your next 3 children. There's no shot. No shot.
Fair enough.
Absolutely no shot. That's like when I say I'll trade anyone, that doesn't mean I'll trade anyone for anyone if you add enough. All right. Like that's not. What would you need to add to Tyler Algier to go and get Kenneth Walker right now? Yeah, your soul forever. Like that's it's gonna be not worth it for you.
Yeah.
But I think I think the Justin Herbert discourse is this offense is overrated. Look, Mike Williams is out. They tried, rotating some really shitty running backs behind Eckler to open the year, right? Keenan Allen's hamstrings have officially left his body forever. Yeah. He's toast, which made me really sad given our preseason discussions, Tom Lee, about how much you were willing to pay for Keenan Allen. That's not worked out.
Really sad.
Yeah, first round picks, folks. Yeah, really sad. Really sad what I went out and offered.
This is why we throw Herbert in there, right? Because these are the narratives that not only people try to sell us, but our heads start making. He's underperforming for the year. You start panicking. You might be
the
5-3,
luckiest QB alive. It's one of the most elite quarterbacks in fantasy football, Riggs.
He's had to do it the hard way, right? Like
multiple top tier programs, taking over for a shitty quarterback, having to prove a lot of doubters wrong, and being an elite fantasy asset. I don't know if that's lucky. The boy is talented, unbelievably. Anyway, carry on.
So I think that's why we put Herbert in there, because we convince ourselves these narratives start to become a thing. And you're going to see people looking to make moves based on, okay, who's underperforming, who can I possibly get at a discount? So if you're an owner, it's just a little peace of mind, right? Don't start panicking. Really, you look at the stats. He's still performing functionally as a QB, borderline QB1 in every single game. So, that's
it's one of those things. It's like when someone becomes like a waiver wire darling for somebody because you get them off the waiver wire for cheap, and they excel, and now you can't let them go. James Robinson, and you have to shove it down everyone's throat. James Robinson. That no matter the scenario, it can never be bad for you, James Robinson. So when you get that situation, and with Herbert walked on the field because they stabbed the starting quarterback Tyrod Taylor in the lungs with the needle. All right, talk about luckiest QB. That's why you got on the field. You got him later in your Superflex drafts. We talked about that, Tom Lee, in earlier episodes on returns for first round picks. And he went out there and he balled. I've said this on the show multiple times. We have been blessed with unbelievable talent from quarterback straight out the gate. And so to see a quarterback finally struggle a little bit because he's even lost Jalen Guyton, okay? The wide receiver version of a fullback for what he does out there. And yeah, he's struggling. Well, no shit, right? He has no offensive line now in front of him. It's typical Chargers. Everyone's dead on the team. So maybe the Chargers have the worst medical staff compared to Baltimore because they stab people in the chest. They can't keep people healthy. Everyone always gets hurt. It's really rough out there. But I'm just saying, of course, people are going to panic a little bit because fantasy football players are fickle. We're fickle. We're fickle bitches. All right. It's just how we are. But it's going to get better. So yes, you want to buy. However, I don't think it's still not an advantageous position.
I don't think it's going to happen.
To buy. Also, I just want to say shout out Chris. He's hanging over there on Twitch. That's at Thomas Tipple FF over on Twitch. Hello there to you, Obi-Wan. Look, Blurpy over there on the YouTubes. My team is. Oh, you're giving me a lot here. Let's see if we can do. My team is QB Hertz. He has Dalvin Cook, Kamara, ETN, Gibson, Henry, Drake, Pacheco. All right, you're giving us all. Pittman, D-Hop, Amon-Ra, Waller, Taysom Hill. There you go. Likely and Ingram. Any trade ideas? Teams 4-4. Look, I'll say this because these questions are really hard to break down and through on a live show. You can go to our Discord, which is on our YouTube channel. You can get the link to that. A little easier for us to handle. But trying to get a wide receiver for Gibson and Drake. Any ideas? No, don't do Keenan Allen. We just talked about his hamstrings going missing. Yeah. Package Gibson and Pittman for a wide receiver. You can do that. Yeah, I agree. You're on the right track on your own. It doesn't sound like you need a lot of help. Getting A.J. Brown, keeping Sanders, adding wealth of defenders on the side, plus offensive line is stout this year. Hurts hit a – oh, that's rigged. Okay. Yeah. All right. Rigged, you're cutting me off here. But, yeah,
I would say 10-team league, I'd be looking at adding a difference-making tight end if I could, rather than looking to try and change those wide receivers. Wide receivers will
correct.
Miss
but
on the weekly. So if you can get a Kelsey or a got it.
It sounds like it sounds like to me you're sitting in good shape and you have the right idea. So I would try to maybe move one of your running backs not named ETN and being able to do that. Yep. And Pittman and Gibson for Adams, I would do that for sure. There you go. Yep. See, you worked it out yourself. Getting A.J. Brown, keeping Sanders doesn't matter. Adding wealth of defenders on the side doesn't matter. Plus, offensive line is stout this year. Yeah, Philadelphia's kind of had an offensive line pretty good. Hurts hit a jackpot on this team, not to mention the easiest schedule. But he's still been good. So I don't care if he's been quote-unquote
reacting
lucky.
to how good he's been, right? Like,
yes,
it's like, oh shit, we might have a guy here. Let's go put some pieces around.
Jalen Hurts didn't walk into that in his rookie year for the last 2 games where he absolutely balled out for fantasy. I don't particularly care about narratives like that personally. If you choose to, that's fine, but that's gonna not make or break my decision in fantasy football. Can play all 4 RBs 2 flex league. You love to see it. So yeah, go and get yourself a high priced wide receiver. And if things continue to go south for you, Blurpy, trade those running backs at deadline time.
And come and join our Discord. Definitely would love to help you on our Discord.
Absolutely. We answer those questions constantly. Hollywood Titan Stabbers. Yeah, that's right. Damn Stabbers. Imagine if Herbert has all these assets. Herbert did for 2 years. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, a fantastic offensive line, the most aggressive coach in football. He had that. And that team looked it looked like how the Chargers looked. It's just how it is. Look, next up.
Let's flow through these. So what I tried to do was, this was inspired by our Discord chat. Someone asked, is there an opportunity to sell high on Tua? Right. So Tua
don't,
at the moment,
but yeah.
QB 18 on the year, obviously he had the injury. But QB 7 points per game, QB 11 as far as consensus ranks go. So he's sitting in that back end QB1 range, pass dependent, but has 2 of the most explosive after the catch players ever on his team. So is there an opportunity to sell high? Possibly. But for me, it's probably a hold. I mean, I have a lot of Tua and I'm pretty happy with what he's doing. I don't know how much I'd have to give on top to get up to one of those top tier guys with the rushing difference making ability. But Lucas, what are your thoughts on Tua? Sell, buy, hold? He's
somebody that I'm selling, and I do like Tua. There's other quarterbacks I like better, or I feel more comfortable about moving forward in the future, especially in Dynasty League. If I'm competing, I'm fine with holding, but especially like if I'm in a rebuilding team and I still find somebody who has doubts about Justin Fields, I'm doing something to move Tua for Fields because I'll feel better about that moving forward.
Well, look, it's unfair to say like I would move this player for this player in a pick because I'm probably always taking that player in a pick because for the most part that's how it is. However, I just want to ask who are the quarterbacks that you feel comfortable in Dynasty? I mean, you said it, you got to have it in your head. You got to know I'm going to ask.
I feel better about Fields. I still want Lance, even with the risk, just because of what that upside can be. Of course, I want Hurts more than him.
I wish we could make that happen. Look, I'm gonna cut you off because I'm already over your picks here, and I'll tell you why. They finally, respectfully, have the offensive line that you want on a team to protect a quarterback. All right. He is the second best deep ball completion, right? He's the fifth best true completion percentage. He is 6th in air yards per attempt. He is not just dinking and dunking. He is chucking the ball deep because he has one of the best wide receivers the NFL has ever seen. He is 4th in money throws with 15. He's also only had 13 danger plays and has thrown 11 interceptable passes in 186 attempts. He has a coach that looks to be the part. We were worried that he was going to be a fake Sharp. He's not. You want to talk about a quarterback that has weapons and offensive line. Their pace of play is even not great, but not bad at 20th. Right, they're throwing the ball 36.5 times per game. I know Tua missed some time, but still. And he has 24 red zone attempts, which isn't great. Imagine if those red zone attempts start to go up a little bit. Yeah. His passing touchdown, he already had a 6.5 passing touchdown rate. Yeah. This is all courtesy
also hard
of
to have red zone attempts when your players run from outside the red zone into the end zone.
100%.
So if they keep running that distance, you're not going to get many opportunities. So.
100%. And his red zone completion percentage, 66.7, guys. Like, it is phenomenal, and there's still room to improve. His pressure completion percentage, his play action completion percentage can all improve still at this point. He is 3rd in EPA, expected points added, at plus 83.2. I gotta tell you, he's number 1 in QBR. Like, I'm ready to buy Tua if I can, even with probably an inflated price, because he's showing exactly, he has the draft capital, he has the weapon. There's fewer. Look, I don't really like pylon quarterbacks. I say that all the time. If I'm gonna have a pylon quarterback, I'm willing to have Tua. And I think this is really weird. Somebody had posted this on Twitter. They flipped Tua. So instead of showing him throwing left, they flipped it, throwing it right. And it's a left-handed bias. It looks great. Yeah, I admit I had left-handed biases, and I'm willing to admit that here on this program. So I don't understand not liking Tua at this point. And I know Jacob's gonna make fun of me, and it's gonna be a great time. But I drafted Tua in the 4th round in a couple of leagues that went quarterback heavy, and I've been very satisfied with that. Lucky that is that. I'm not Vol hating. How am I Vol hating? Hollywood. I'm not Vol hating. I make the graphics and stuff. Vols by 50. That was me. I'm pro Vols. I'm anti Velus Jones, as everyone in the NFL should have been. I'm sorry. He's a 375-year-old senior. It's just not. You don't want that. I gotta shout out the best wide receiver, Tyreek. Yeah, he's phenomenal. There's a reason I was making fun of people who were fading him. He was the.
Is Tyreek over 30?
I don't think he might be 30. Not over 30. Yeah. He might be 30, but either way, the guy is absolutely balling. Look, we got some hard yakka down the line. Hope you've enjoyed the show so far. If you're watching over there on the tubes of you, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, notification button. We put out a ton of videos every week. I think we're at like 14 videos a week at this point. It's just absolutely
it's
insane.
More.
It's more than that. All right, it's more than that. We're absolutely coming at you with the content. Here's another clip from Tuesday's show. Enjoy. When we come back, hard yakka, and then we'll get you out of here for the rest of your weekend. Sit tight, everybody.
So Edmonds is going to play the Boone role, which is not enough to start, but it's enough to make the others not very startable.
Yes, it's gonna
and
be
then,
annoying and gross.
Like, right. So like basically once they got down to a 2-man the last couple of weeks, it's been kind of nice because like Latavius has been mainly the guy getting the carries, but Melvin still gets enough carries, and then he gets all of the passing down work. And it's kind of like the saddest, like dustiest Chubb Hunt-esque split imaginable.
Yeah.
But now it's just like it's you can't. I don't think you can play any Denver back, like, because at this point,
No, it's
Evans is
disgusting.
going to have like 2 or 3 targets a game. He's useless, and then you're just saying, okay, which of Melvin or Latavius falls in the end zone this week? Because otherwise, they're going to have 10 carries for 40 yards.
Yeah, I think it's disgusting gross. I just wanted to take this moment to shine this giant W on my Chase Edmonds take.
You get the W
from the
there.
offseason.
Chase
I'm going to
Edmonds.
do that. The Baradox coming in from Twitch. Tyreek is only 28. But also shout out to him because people were talking about him like he was 45 when he went to the Dolphins. So this is what it is. So shout out to Dabs over there on Twitch. Again, that's at ThomasSimpleFF. Chris, look, for people who haven't watched the show before, Chris, every once in a while, he comes in, he has some sports questions. Chris, we'll get one from you now. Hit us with the first question. We'll try to answer it before we move on and do some hard yakka. Hit us with it. When you're ready. Also, can I just say while Chris is typing out the one, it's not often, when your co-host is like 14,000 followers, it's kind of a big deal. Lead analyst at Player Profiler, and I get a rub a take in his face. You got to, I think you got to take that opportunity. Chase Edmonds going to Denver. Woof. Just woof. The best way to spot a truther is how they still find a way to be like, nah, they traded for him. They must want to use him. It's just like, oh my God, it's over. Give it up. All right. Give it up. If we're laying Irv Smith Jr. to rest, can we please lay Chase Edmonds' fantasy dreams to rest as well? We all know Brett Favre played 25 million years, but how many consecutive games was it? Oh my, I used to know this record. It's like
169, honestly.
Nice. I'll say 174.
I'm so wrong. I'm so wrong.
Oh,
we're all wrong.
We're
all
wrong?
so
okay,
wrong.
I'm going to change it up to say 243.
Seems like a lot of games.
I had to look it up. I don't know why I thought it was that.
You're not supposed to look it up, Lucas. You're not allowed to say anything now. You broke the
I
rules.
was curious.
Nope.
I didn't know the NFL existed when Brett Favre was playing. This is particularly tough for me.
297. Well, I changed my vote. I went 242. Brett Favre, also a douchebag, but that man could stay in the game. It is what it is. Look, we already have an answer to the questions from Blurpy in the Discord. He give Keenan Allen and Kareem Hunt and get DK and James Conner. Obviously, you do that. You absolutely do that. So shout out to you. That's how quick we get things done in the Full Tilt Podcast Network Discord. We do that. Tom Lee, why don't you explain what hard yak is for the people that might be new listening?
Hard yakka. So hard yakka is like, imagine blue collar, day on the tools. We call them tradies out here, but it's just getting the hard work.
Like me.
Digging in, putting your back into it and getting it done. So it generally for us means a bit more of a deep dive and a bit more, what do you call it? I mean, it's more process driven than
We've done more of the work for you.
Yeah. And there's a bit more detail involved. And we love the trade game, especially coming up to trade deadlines. So these are the guys who are sort of, like Tom said, the surprise glow-ups. So, and a little trade game for each of these guys. So we've got a couple each to flow through. We'll start with Tom's because I want to talk about this guy as well. So,
okay.
Tom, why don't you leave us off on... Yeah,
I will.
So let's roll into Rhamondre. Let's talk Rhamondre.
That's Lucas. Lucas, you go with Rhamondre.
All right. So, I'll go with Rhamondre Stevenson. The guy's been awesome. Like, that's all we can say is just the guy's been amazing. Whenever he actually got an RB1 workload, he's producing RB1 results. Big surprise here, guys. And he looks so much better than Damian Harris. Like, Damian Harris was a fine running back, but he couldn't do anything for you aside from score touchdowns. Rhamondre Stevenson does not have to score touchdowns to be good. And that's a great thing that we want to see moving forward. I'm really excited. He's somebody who's going to probably be around RB15 for me going into 2023 in terms of dynasty rankings. Somebody that's definitely moving up. He'll probably be a third-round pick in your redraft leagues next year at the latest, just based off of what he's doing. And I did find some trades on here. So definitely want to run these by you. These are about 2 weeks old at this point. First one, Rhamondre Stevenson for Jameson Williams.
Interesting option, considering who else we're talking about on this program today. Hard to say. I think I'm taking JMO in that scenario, but very, very tough to say.
Yeah, I struggle with
I don't
this,
think
right?
you
It's
have
like-
to. I don't think you have to is my thing.
Yeah, I don't think you have to either. But I know we talked about Stevenson last week a little bit. We talked about running backs, and even a few weeks ago when Tom ran us through his updated running back rankings. If you value him,
God, those are already so outdated. Jesus Christ.
yeah, right. But if you're valuing him heading, like Lucas said, towards 12 to 15, that sort of running back's starting to become worth a fair chunk. So you're going to have to give up a fair bit. Without having seen JMO, I'm not particularly keen to move him. His price is set. He's only going to go up as he gets healthier. Like I said, I don't think you have to move that sort of piece. But head to head, I'm probably sticking with JMO, but it's tough. I think you could be seen to look pretty silly either way in a couple of weeks or years' time. So we'll stick with JMO for now, but not a bad one.
Okay.
It's gonna be very hard. It's gonna be very hard to keep Stevenson out of my top 12 at this point. Like the thing is Damian Harris last week, he did run, I think it was more routes than Stevenson, but they were kind of empty routes, if you would. I mean, Stevenson already has 32 receptions. He's absolutely the number one guy at this point. He has 15.6 weighted opportunities per game, which is really, really good. He has almost a 61% opportunity share. Like, it's just everything you want. He's getting the targets. He's already had 7 big runs, so we know that he can do that. You want to talk about missed tackles? He's forced 34 missed tackles already, and he has a very, very, very solid 23.3% juke rate. He is more elusive than I thought. He is a better pass catcher than I thought. And Lucas, because I was going to talk about him, I'm gonna add on to this. I'm gonna add on to this, Lucas, because I was going to talk about Stevenson, and then I saw that you had him. I was wrong on a few different levels. Part of the problems with my process specifically is that I am fucking stubborn. I am a stubborn fantasy football player, and I am trying to change that. Admittedly, it is a flaw in my process. I am often too late at changing my direction on a player, and with Rhamondre, I have changed this approach, in my opinion. I started jumping on the Rhamondre train, even going as far as trading 24 first-round picks for him straight up. I really believe in where he's going to be next year, whether Damian Harris is there or not. I feel like he's worth the price of admission. He's giving you everything you want, even on a down year for the Patriots offense. He's currently sitting behind only guys like Kamara, Henry, even Javonte Williams. RBs are a fickle enterprise. But I said a few weeks ago, if he blows up with this role, he's a potential top 12 heading into the April draft, which we all know the April draft can absolutely murder a running back. But I'm in. You can consider me all in. And I wanted to shout out at Dynasty Zoltan. He was the first person I ever noticed being this far in on Stevenson. I will disagree with you that he's Derrick Henry or will have that kind of career. I know that was our little argument. Little jokes on us there, or I guess maybe jokes on me at this point. But I think you were right, Zoltan, and I should have been in on him sooner. So shout out to you, and everyone should go look up at Dynasty Zoltan and go sub to his Patreon because he does fantastic work there. So shout out to you.
Awesome. Oh, also, would you do Rhamondre Stevenson in a second for ETN? I need to know that.
Yes.
So this
yes.
is interesting,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So you would
yes.
take the ETN side?
Yes. ETN is potentially going to be the Dynasty RB1 by the end of this year.
So I completely agree, but I like this structure of trade because I think if there's a buying opportunity on Stevenson, it's not because of a guy like ETN. It's a guy like Cook or Kamara. If you can get that name move down to Stevenson out a second, especially Kamara, who's likely to get suspended next year and has the appeal of still being relevant this year, that for me is a really good process-driven trade that I'd way prefer to an ETN trade. So whoever did this in real life, well done for getting ETN. But if you
there's still
it's just for me, Kamara for Stevenson, and a second is the move you want to make.
You wouldn't even have to do that for a lot of people, especially with Kamara's blow up. You could probably trade Kamara for him straight up.
Like you said, that's me changing my process as well, because you don't necessarily want to buy in on younger guys, but this guy's still cheap enough you could do it. And what are you losing out on, really?
Awesome.
Yeah, 100%. All
so
right.
we mentioned in the first trade JMO. So why don't we move on to yours, Tom? So JMO
Right.
or Jameson Williams.
My official one. I just had to look. The reason I wanted to add that in with Rhamondre is because I was already planning on shitting on my process. But it is important, and I say it all the time. It is important. Exactly. It is about doing the work, looking yourself in the mirror, and understanding where you can improve in your process. And you should be playing with Dynasty players that make you rethink things. And I will shout out again at Dynasty Zoltan FF, at Cam's Not Sober. These are people who are some of the brightest Dynasty players that I've ever played with, and they make me be a better player. And to do that, you need to be a little more up to date on player values and fluctuations. And that's why Jameson Williams is so fucking impressive right now. He is not played. He is not played. So let's take a look at that. Oh, first I want to just I've been neglecting the chat here. Hollywood Titan. Wow. I agree. Wow, Etienne is RB number 1. I didn't say that. That's not what I said. I said with his trajectory the way it is right now, I mean, the RB1 right now on Keep Trade Cut is Kenneth Walker. Etienne is already moving into top 5. If Etienne does rushes for a bunch of yards, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, with his efficiency and continues to catch passes, I mean, yeah, he has the opportunity to be the Dynasty RB1 heading into April when, of course, Bijan will undoubtedly unseat him pretty much no matter where he goes. Etienne or Brees next year, assuming I'll probably draft and redraft more Etienne because it's hard for a player to come back from an ACL that late in the year. That's probably what I'll do in redraft, but in Dynasty, well, whatever gives me the plus on top of it is what I'm going to take because that's how I roll. But let's talk about Jameson Williams. When I wrote this little blurb up on Wednesday, he was the wide receiver 21 on Keep Trade Cut. The man hasn't played, and he has gained value. It is fucking amazing. Since Wednesday, he has already gone up 2 spots. He is the wide receiver 21 on Keep Trade Cut. And again, I know we talk about Keep Trade Cut, and oh my God, it's such a joke. It's laughable. These are ranks made by the people for the people. So wherever you want to get your rankings from or a reference point from for the change in value, this is what I'm choosing for this particular one. Deal with it. How's that for you? But since Hawkinson got yeeted to the Vikings, Jameson Williams has already gone up in value without even practicing yet. It's incredible. Through 8 weeks of the season, he's currently sitting ahead of Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk, Gabriel Davis. Oh, we lost Tom Lee.
Keep going. I got him.
My bad. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading off my page now, and I didn't notice that we lost Tom Lee. We'll get Tom Lee back. This happens. His internet's in Australia. But he's currently sitting ahead of Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk, Gabe Davis, Hollywood Brown, Treylon Burks, and Jahan Dotson. 2 other rookie wide receivers who've already played and showed elite. Well, less Burks, but Dotson has shown elite playmaking ability already. And Jameson Williams has yet to play, yet to practice, yet to do anything. And he's already gaining and accruing value. That is absolutely incredible. I just wanted to point out Jameson Williams because he's a player that I don't think a lot of people are necessarily talking about. But again, he's already ahead of Chris Godwin. Like, I know Chris Godwin's kind of had a down year to this point, but you weren't trading Jameson Williams for Chris Godwin for Jameson Williams at the start of the year. And now he's already ranked ahead of him again on KTC, wherever you want to get your values from. Again, I don't give a fuck. Okay. You get your values wherever you want. This is the source of reference that I'm getting. Deal with it. I used to shit on them all the time. Now I use them constantly because it's phenomenal talking points. So shout out we're doing all the shout outs today at KTC, at Cam's Not Sober, at Dynasty Zoltan FF, fucking A+. All right. There you go. There's all your shout outs. But Jameson Williams, unbelievable that he's gaining and sustaining this much value at this point in his career before he plays. Hollywood, great show, fellas. Got to run and go damn Vol. Shout out Hollywood and the IDP Nation. I love Hollywood Titan. I'm in group chats with that man. He is absolutely A+.
I don't know who this guy is, but he is now my favorite person. Go Balls. Let's do it.
You gotta meet Hollywood. He's a phenomenal, absolute character in the space of fantasy football. I see some trades here that I did not go and find because I have a phenomenal human being named Tom Lee that finds all the trades. We're a smooth running ship sometimes, even though I say let's ride. Let's hit these trades. We've got to get yours done before we get out of here.
Yeah, man. So it's funny you mentioned a few of these guys being ranked behind him on KTC, but these are straight up for JMO at the moment. So JMO for Terry McLaurin.
I would take Jameson Williams because I don't think Heineke will be a quarterback forever in Washington.
Yeah, I would also take Jameson Williams because I think we're, as a group, slightly lower on Terry than it is out there. But it could mean if you like Terry, he's very gettable. So
I mean, I love Terry McLaurin. Like, I think I probably am the highest out of our group on F1,
Probably.
but I just with how he's looked with any quarterback not named Heineke, you gotta go with JMO. I feel like
We all know F1's favorite Tay-Tay isn't Taylor Swift. All right, it's Heineke.
love Taylor Swift.
Trade to JMO for Gabe Davis.
JMO.
Yeah, same. I'm also JMO. Trade 3 again.
Like Gabe Davis, love Gabe Davis at this point in the year.
This is an anti-Gabe Davis take.
But want JMO.
Confirming how these guys get these ranks. Preseason darling Deontay Johnson for JMO.
Oh my God, JMO. Deontay Johnson's dead to me.
How the
This is
mighty
so
have fallen.
sad.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with Claypool out now. But
I finally bought into Deontay Johnson, and this is what happens. I'm looking at you, FT_Maddie. All right, Maddie.
Very different to us buying it on Cup last year.
You talked.
Notice the two outcomes.
Oh my God, he talked me into Deontay Johnson for 2 years. I finally bit, and this is what I get. Oh my God, out here singing Simple Plans. How could this happen to me every fucking week?
Correct song reference. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Every time the Steelers play, I just have to crank My Chemical Romance so I can feel the sadness of Deontay Johnson in my lineups. Oh my God. Depressing. Next.
So we move on. So the last two guys, we'll get through these pretty quickly. So the two that have surprised me the most, one is obvious, and that's Josh Jacobs, because he's currently the RB6 overall, the RB5 in points per game, but it's still ranked as the RB17 according to DLF. So are we moving Josh Jacobs for a 23 first?
No.
Are we moving Josh Jacobs?
Oh, would I trade him?
Will we trade him away for a 23 first?
Yes.
Yes. I also
and
agree.
I'll actually piggyback off of something that Jacob and I talked about on Tuesday's show, and something that he talked about with DFB Encounter, also guest of the Full Tilt Dynasty podcast on his other pod, Sweatin' Bullets, which you should definitely be going into. I'm giving everyone fucking shout outs this week. Go and listen to Sweatin' Bullets. Lucas, I need you to montage clip every shout out at this point.
Oh,
because you got to put them all up. You got to put them all up. Go and download and subscribe to Sweatin' Bullets on the Bulletproof Fantasy Network. Do it. I would be trading Josh Jacobs for. I'd prefer a 24 first at this point over a 23 first, because people trading for Josh Jacobs most likely we know are going to be late, and I would rather the opportunity of a potential earlier first in 2024. Also, Quinn Ewers is the truth. Him and the mullet are here to stay.
Decision making. That's brilliant.
Yes,
I love it.
100%.
Other
Do you
trades
think you can get more than a 24 first for Josh Jacobs? Like honestly, like I would be asking for a first and a second, especially if I'm going to 2024 for that pick.
Well, and that's the other part of that. Thomas Tri Chemical Brothers. Next time you see this play, you might like their music. Electrically unwired or miswired. All right, I'll take that into account. I'll let you know. Yeah, and that's the thing, because you are moving. There's always the opportunity to add that plus and push it back. And look, people will always talk about how, oh, my pick in 2024 is going to be late. Is it? Is it?
Good luck to you.
Is it? Because you don't know. I've had people be like, oh, I can't trade for your pick. It's going to be too late. Your team's great. And guess what? All 4 running backs going IR. You don't know. Russell Wilson gets out of Seattle. He's going to blow up. He's fucking top 5 QB. All his options QB or wide receiver ones. Lucas. They're not. Jerry Jeudy still sucks.
He looks better than Cortland Sutton. That's
Not
the only
saying
victory
much.
lap I'm taking right
Not
now because I
saying
had him
much.
over Cortland Sutton. I'm taking a victory lap, dadgummit.
Yeah, you're taking like the 5th place victory lap is what you're taking.
Give me
right
my
now.
wide
That's
receiver
how-
30 victory lap, dadgummit.
Jesus Christ. So you don't know what the outcome of the season's actually going to be. So don't tell me who's first is late and not, because you don't know. None of us know. We have a good idea, but we don't fucking know. Anyway, sorry. Mini rant.
Here I
aside.
was thinking I'd written a show sheet that didn't involve anyone that would trigger you guys, but you never know.
It's just bad faith conversations, man. It just drives me
I like
fucking
it.
crazy.
So the last 2 trades for Josh Jacobs that I found were
You need to
Jacobs
light
in
a
the 23
peaceful
seconds
Christmas
Debo.
candle.
Christmas.
Ooh. I think I'm taking Debo.
Yeah, I think Debo's still got that appeal for me over Jacobs. I think the long-term value is still there, and a second's not moving the needle enough for me.
I gotta calm down. I gotta lit my candle.
It's very zen
I'll
over there.
also take Debo.
Yeah. And then the last one for me was Jacobs for Hollywood Brown straight up.
Wait, Josh Jacobs for Hollywood Brown?
Yeah.
I would take Josh Jacobs right now. Uncertainty
Jacobs.
with Hollywood Brown, another
That's
injury that could hinder him. We don't know how it's going to operate. Hopkins, like a 37% target share, ridiculous. Hollywood Brown was a top 8 wide receiver before his injury. We know Hopkins is king with Kyler Murray, so it'll be interesting to see. But right now, for total value, I would take Josh Jacobs because I bet you if you traded Hollywood Brown for Josh Jacobs straight up, you would immediately be able to trade Josh Jacobs right now for more than you would be able to trade away Hollywood Brown.
I agree.
So
1000%.
instead of just looking at it as a 1-for-1, it's like a 1-for-1 with like a side kick in. So I think that should be an avenue you should be trying to explore. That's 3D. You know, Star Trek, you know, their chess, how there's like 3 layers. That you're playing
Yeah.
that. You're not playing this chess, all right? Because there's only one layer. It's one-dimensional. All right? You want to play
What if you're
that
playing Candyland?
3-dimension. Oh, that's okay. Moving on. Candyland, Bachelor in Paradise. Jesus Christ.
Bachelor in Paradise is elite. All right,
He's a
I'm not
well-rounded
going to
man.
allow slander of Bachelor.
So we had to put him in timeout.
We finally did it. Yeah.
Yep. Next.
So the last guy I've thrown in is a little victory lap for myself because the surprise of the year for me has been Geno Smith, my waiver wire darling, and a guy I traded away a 23-second for. Would you guys still do that trade? Would you move a 23-second to acquire Geno Smith for the rest of the year?
No.
I would.
No. Absolutely not. No. I'm good. I'm G.
Okay.
Like if you're at this point, like I'm buying Russ Wilson. I know I just shit on him. Like I'm buying Russ Wilson right now because he's cheap. I would rather just pay up a little bit more. I traded Hollywood Brown and there you go. With the Baradox, who we saw over here from Twitch earlier, very competitive player. I traded Hollywood Brown and a second to acquire Russell Wilson. I would just rather do that than acquire a 23-second for Geno Smith. I would just rather trade up a little bit and get a guy like Russ because I don't think shitty Russ will be like around forever.
Well, here's what I like about you, Tom, because you either read the show sheet or don't read the show sheet.
I'm not reading the show sheet right now. I am not 100.
Geno Smith and Leonard Fournette for Russell Wilson.
Yes, I would do that. Yes.
There you go.
It's funny because
Exactly.
I had no idea that was next. What I'm trying to do, I got comments that I look away from the camera too much. So now
Pay up just a little bit. And I agree with you on that one. I think that process works. Cash in on the value of Geno this year. People get a serviceable running back, quarterback they can use. Lenny's on his last legs. He's running. One of his games was negative 1.7 yards per carry.
Oh
in the
yeah,
last few
and
weeks.
and
So that's how
White's
good that's
coming.
going.
White's coming for snaps. Funny, the Baradox, the panic you had when I accepted that trade within 3 seconds. So what's funny is the Baradox and I usually go back and forth for like 2 weeks on every trade because we're generally just making fun of each other too much to talk trade. So funny sidebar about the trade I just talked about is I've gone through that league for multiple years just having one quarterback, and Hollywood Brown, I changed his nickname to QB2 because he was who I played in my quarterback 2 slot. I refused to trade up for a quarterback value. But I finally had Josh Allen on bye, and I had Hollywood Brown hurt, so I finally had to do it. The Beardogs had sent me a trade that I immediately said no to, and I countered with Hollywood in a second, expecting him to counter it, and he accepted it right away, and I was like, I've made a grave mistake. So, have you ever sent a trade expecting it to get countered? It gets immediately accepted, and it makes you immediately regret it because
you're like, who's been injured?
It's the respect I have for Dabs as a player that immediately makes me think I fucked up and I got baited into a trade that I actually didn't want. Like I sent it, so obviously I was comfortable with it, but he accepted it so fast that I immediately wanted it vetoed because I felt like I got robbed. So shout out to the Beardogs. It happens in leagues, man. Russ just wanted the money bag requirement from Sierra's marriage contract, heavy spender. I mean, Sierra's made that bag herself. Her career's nothing, no slouch. All right, what do we got? Is that it? Have we run the gamut on the show sheet?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a program. Absolutely love it. It's been a great time. Let's get some final thoughts, Aussie slang, before we get everyone out of here for their weekend. Shout out to everyone watching all over the place on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. We love all y'all, man, for real. Final thoughts and Aussie slang, Tom Lee.
Aussie slang. So if I told you that today for lunch I'm having a snag sambo, what am I having?
Sandwich.
A sausage sandwich. Snag is the word of the day. Snagglepuss, snag, sausage, sanger, sarnie, sambo, sandwich. I'm thinking about lunch. It's nearly lunchtime. So welcome to the Aussie slang of the week.
Oh my
God. We also call snags goals. So
see, in Sando, so Sando for us is like Canadian hockey slang for sandwich.
Yeah, Sando.
Yeah, there we go. We're gonna go crush a Sando before Pracky. That's what's up. And of course, Play Naked comes in on YouTube just in time for Geno Smith discourse. You have traded for Geno more than anyone, and to be fair, it's fucking worked out for you. So shout out to you. We have another question from Adam Weber over there on YouTube. What's up, Adam? Thanks for hopping in. Hey guys, I'm down bad at 3-5 in a must-win situation. I need to start one at RB2 in a full PPR format. Pacheco, Rashad White, Alexander Madison. Also need to start one at the flex, Pittman or Romeo Doubs. I'm actually going to play Pittman still, and then for your other one, oh my God, I'm going to eliminate Madison because Cook is playing, and I don't really want to play a backup on the hopes of a touchdown. Now let's talk about Rashad White and Isaiah Pacheco. It's tough to say coming out of the bye, but
that's the narrative. Out of the bye, Pacheco.
I'm still gonna ride Pacheco because I think he plays more snaps. It's tough, man. You are down bad.
Yeah. I think Lenny still gets too much of that to roll. So
I agree. Also, do y'all like Elijah Mitchell to stash? I would trade him away. Stash him, don't release him. He's sitting on your IR. He's not taking up a roster spot. Sure. But you can yeet him into the sun. He's toast. He's done now. That's the thing with day 3 running backs, guys. That's just what happens, Damian Pierce. I can't answer that one, Chris. That's a baseball question. We'll have people immediately evacuating our live stream. But
is it over 2,000 though?
It's like 2,798 or something. I just said I can't answer it, and then I answered it. But yeah, I would flex Pittman over Dobbs this week, and then I would play Pacheco over Rashad White and Madison, and then don't watch because it's going to be gross.
Just check it at the end of the game.
It was 2,632. I wasn't that far off. There you go.
Nice.
I know baseball a little bit more. Lucas, final thoughts before we get out of here?
Oh man, tomorrow's going to be a fun day. That's all I can say. Tomorrow's going to be a fun day. We'll see number 1 versus number 1. I know not everybody watches college football, but dadgummit, I watch college football. And there's been a lot of questions about the game. Hendon Hooker, Do not pick him over Trevor Lawrence as much as I love Hendon Hooker. Don't do that. That's malpractice. Please don't do that. I love Hendon Hooker. Don't do that. But I do think he'll have over 300 passing yards and 4 total touchdowns tomorrow against the Georgia Bulldogs.
Oh my God! High
NFL wise,
yeah, high hopes. Look, it's gonna be great. My final thoughts are this. First off, go to Movember.com, search up Full Tilt Podcast Network, donate. As you can see, I'm the only one on this program brave enough to have the mustache. There you go, Tom Lee. These other guys are too afraid of their significant others, but that's fine. Mine will hate me for a month, and that's okay. We got to do it for the cause. However, with all joking aside, it's a crucial month in November for mental health awareness in men. We have, it helps with cancer, and the donations are going straight there. It's not going third party and then there. It's all there. You know where your money's going. It's going to the cause. It means a lot. You can do that, and I'll also be posting the QR code in the Discord as well this week. All your donations would really matter. Tom, we love a phrase, next time for Australian slang, always fun to learn. I mean, that's where it came from, is because it was just so good. And, my favorite one is still that we're not here to fuck spiders. It is still, I use it all the time, almost daily. We love it here. And look, I always say check out on your loved ones. And Tom Lee, you posted a little story in the Discord that I wanted to talk about. I say check out on your loved ones, even if you don't know. We say this for a reason. There was a gentleman in one of the leagues that you were playing in that hadn't set his lineup in 4 weeks. Yep. And I don't know if you guys have played in leagues. If someone doesn't do that, people tend to lose their shit. And that was happening. And then we had found out that he actually had passed from his fight with cancer 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, 5 to 6 year battle with cancer. You
don't actually know until you know. It is so important. And that's, again, Movember for prostate cancer, everything. It's important to keep checking in and to do something about it. There's also a stigma that men can't talk to each other. That's fucking bullshit. It is important too. So remember that. Check in on your loved ones, even if you're not sure they need it, because it's absolutely necessary. And I'll say more now than ever with how crazy the world is at the moment. With all that, I want to spread some peace, love, and positivity. So big shout outs to everyone I've shouted out already. Shout out to everyone watching and listening. And look, if you want to hear something else on this podcast that we're not talking about, please let us know in all the comments. YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, Twitter. You let us know, and we will get to the bottom of it. We will bring the content that we are not currently providing to you happily. We're content machines. We will make the content that fits your needs right here on this program. So again, big up to everyone watching, listening, sticking it out this long. Absolutely great. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Remember that clear eyes and full hearts can never lose. And God damn, your best days, well, they're always spent tilting. Good night, everybody.